Hello YouTube. Today I have the Philips HD9230. This is a Philips hot air fryer. This is not a deep fryer and it is not a microwave. It uses hot air to fry like you would a deep fryer. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cook some nicey, tasty, treaty things here, and we're gonna give our opinions on whether this is good or not. Short, quick answer, it's pretty freaking awesome. So with that, let's go ahead, plug this bad boy in, get some stuff, deep air frying. Let me just say air frying because deep frying is not the correct term. And I will give you my opinion on this awesome air fryer.
We begin by grabbing the handle and pulling the frying drawer out. It comes all the way out so you can remove it and set it down on something. I use a heat plate. You can remove the fryer basket by simply pressing the little gray eject button. It's much lighter this way, and you can shake your food and empty it out much easier. You can see down inside there's a spiral pattern in the metal. This redirects the hot air up into your food to help cook both sides, although I do recommend shaking halfway through cooking for even cooking. Let's take a look inside the actual unit. It's basically a convection oven. You can see a heat coil there, very similar to one you'd see on your oven, as well as some metal fan blades up above it there. This blows the hot air down off the coil onto your food. Taking a look around the back side of the unit, you can see there's a hot air vent, and on the top hot air vents out as well. So it's recommended you don't have anything directly above or behind it when cooking. I always pull mine out to the middle of my counter, so there's plenty of free room. The power cord also tucks neatly away inside the unit. You can see this little clear grommet here, and you just pull it out. Unfortunately, it's not spring-loaded or anything, so it doesn't wind itself back up, so you have to spend a few minutes kind of tucking it back in there. But it does make it nice for storage.
Okay, so we have our Philips air fryer plugged in. We're gonna go ahead and start with some of these mozzarella sticks crispy seasoned breading from Costco. I'm gonna put about 8 or 7 of these into the air fryer. I'm gonna guess, let's see here, it says that you should cook them in a convection oven 4 to 6 minutes. So I'm gonna aim for about 7 because I like mine a little crispier. And what you have to do with this air fryer is you have to preheat it for 3 minutes and it will beep at you. And then you just pull this thing out, put your stuff in, put it back in. I'm gonna walk you through step by step as I do it and show you how to do that. So let's go ahead and get this sucker preheated.
So, the first step is to press the power button. It will beep to turn on and show us the temperature that it is going to be set at. At this point you can set the temperature, but we're going to go ahead and leave it at 390 since most frozen foods cook at that temperature in this particular fryer. Now that we have the temperature set, we press the play button. This starts the preheating of the fryer. As mentioned before, hot air will ventilate out the back vent and out the top, so make sure you have room around it when using it. So we'll let this preheat for 3 minutes and come right back.
Okay, our Philips air fryer is now preheated. So we're gonna go ahead now and we're gonna put 7 of these bad boys in here. So what we do is there's no button here, you just pull this out like that. You can leave it running, that's fine. I have this little portable hot plate made out of stone here that I use. I'm going to set it down on there, and you can either just throw it in there, but I like to just kind of set mine in here. I like to put it so there's a little bit of space between them, if possible. But you can also just cook them. You can throw a whole bunch in there and cook tons. There's a fill line here, which you can't see, but it's right here, and it says maximum. So you can fill this whole thing up full of French fries or chicken nuggets or whatever you want. I don't tend to cook that much, so I'm only cooking for 1 or 2 people at a time, and oftentimes we're not too gluttonous with the food reading. So as you can see, I'm only cooking about 7 of these bad boys, and I'm not filling it up all the way. So now we're going to take this, we're going to put it back in here, and now over here on the far left there's a button that shows a little thermometer and a timer. You press that once, and it will beep and it will show minutes, which is empty. I'm going to set this, like I said, for about 7 or 8 minutes. I'm going to set it for 8, and then I'll watch it. And then you got to press play again. Now, that thing is going to cook for 8 minutes, After 8 minutes, let me say, when it gets to the last minute, it will start ticking down in seconds. You'll see it go 59, 58, 57. When it reaches the bottom, the last second, it will beep like it did before, beep, beep, 3 times, and it will turn off. So if you happen to have to run out, or you're in the garage, you're upstairs, and you miss it, it will turn itself off, and your food will not overcook and burn. Now, one of the things it recommends is while you're cooking your food, it says sometimes when you're cooking a big basket full of them, fries, chicken, whatever, they recommend you pull it out, you dislodge the basket, and you shake it up a little bit, and then you put it back in, because it kind of stirs the food up a little bit. Some people or some recipes will say to spray a little oil when you do that or whatever. I just shake it up and put it back in so every side gets equally cooked. So for this, when it reaches, and if you can see on this here, it's alternating between 8 minutes, now it says 7, and it shows me the degrees 390. Every few seconds it alternates. When this is at about 4 minutes, I'm going to take it out and roll those little mozzarella sticks around to make sure that they get evenly cooked. You possibly don't have to do that if you don't care that every side is evenly cooked. You could probably just leave it in for 7 minutes, run out to the store or whatever, come back, and this bad boy will have shut itself off automatically. There is a pause button in the middle. You can press the pause button and it will stop the fan, as you can hear. Some people like to pause it when they pull it out and shake it up, but the instructions specifically say to just pull it out, shake it up, put it back in. They don't tell you to use the pause button, so I don't do that. Anyways, we're gonna let these guys cook for about 4 minutes, 3 minutes. I will come back and show you how I shake it up. Not a lot to see. Put it back in, finish up, and then I will give you my take on how these mozzarella sticks turn out.
Okay, it's been about 4 minutes, so let's go ahead and open this up and see how they look. And these are looking really good. Just gonna give them a shake, a couple of shakes, just to roll them around a little bit. And I'm gonna put those back in there, and I might check them every minute or two. Cheese sticks are temperamental because once the cheese kind of pops and starts to leak out, you can get nothing but a shell of a cheese stick if you're not careful. So please keep in mind that cook times vary.
Okay, here we are at the last few seconds. It's gonna beep at us when it's done. And as you see, it's turned itself off. Things are still sizzling inside, but the heat and all that cooking is turned off. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out. As you can see, our cheese sticks are looking very good, bulging with cheese, but not too much. So I'm gonna set it down here. I'm gonna press the little eject button. That's how you get the tray to separate from the cooking grill. I'm gonna give it a little shake so they break free, and I'm gonna drop them. Ooh, look at that. Oh boy, woo! And as you can see, we've got some loose cheese. I'm just gonna pull that down here. I'll have to clean a little bit of that off, but those things right there look really good. So I'm gonna let those sit for, just about a minute, because if I eat those right now, they will burn my mouth. And we will come back and we will see how those taste. Okay, we've got our mozzarella sticks here. We're gonna try these out and see what happens with them. They've been cooling for about a minute and a half, so hopefully they won't burn my tongue, but let's see how they are. Ooh, we got stuck there. Oh, can you see that steam? They are magnificent. I don't know if you can see that, but nice and crunchy and crispy on the outside, and gooey and stringy on the inside. This is how a mozzarella stick should be. When you go to the restaurant, this is how they are. Now, they aren't like 100% like deep fried. You don't get that kind of gush of oil, but they are better than anything I've fried or baked in the oven by far. They're tasty, they're crispy. Awesome. Alright, so next up, I'm gonna try to do multiple things at once. Now this can be hit or miss. Sometimes some things will take 4 or 5 minutes, or 6 or 7, while other little things might take less time. I'm gonna do it just as an experiment. I'm gonna cook some mashed potato 4 cheese bites. I'm gonna cook some Frank's in a blanket from Costco, and I'm gonna cook some State Fair mini corn dogs. Now, I'm gonna put them all in and I'm gonna watch them diligently. If there's one thing that I have as a complaint against this air fryer, it's the fact that after you cook something and the timer counts down and it beep beep beeps and it shuts itself off, when you turn it back on by pressing the play button to preheat it again or get it going, it resets the timer that you last used. Now, if you do it right away, that's not so bad, but if you need those 3 minutes to preheat, you're gonna lose 3 minutes off that time. So you can see here, I've got 9 minutes, and I artificially inflated it to 10 or 11 minutes to try to get that time set up. It's kind of a pain in the butt. It would have been nice if when it hit the bottom, it just reset, you press play, and it just preheated again. Now again, I don't even know if it's preheated because it's counting down the timer, it didn't beep at me, it's been on about 3 minutes. The way to alleviate that is to simply pull the plug, re-plug it back in, and start from scratch. Kind of annoying, but if you're just cooking one thing, you don't care. If you're cooking multiple things like we are tonight, that can be a bit of a hassle. And sometimes you're going to want to cook your potato things separate from your chicken or corn dog things, and you're going to cook 2 things. So plan accordingly, you know, put the timer up an extra 3 minutes to get it preheated again. Now, that being said, we're at about 8 minutes. I set it for about 11, so we should be preheated. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the basket out, assuming it's preheated. And I'm going to go ahead and add some corn dogs. Let's see, maybe 2, maybe just 4 of these little corn dogs. I'm going to add some of these glorious pigs in a blanket. These are great, by the way. I'm going to add about 6 of those. And then I'm just going to add a couple of potato wedges. Now these I'm just going to go ahead and pour in. I've got, 6 or 7 in there, not a ton. And as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and put these guys in. And now it's set for 7 minutes just by happenstance. I'm going to leave it on that because most of these things only going to take 6 to 8 minutes at max to cook. So I'm going to pull this thing at about 4 minutes, check them, make sure nothing's browning or anything. Put it back in if they look good, maybe shake it up a little bit. One of the things about using an air fryer is you kind of get a sense for things. The bag on this, or the box, might say in a conventional oven or deep fryer to cook. In a deep fryer it says 3 to 5 minutes, but in a conventional oven it says 12 to 14. The air fryer falls somewhere in the middle of those. So it's not quite 3 to 5, but it's not 12 to 14 either. It's going to be closer to 6 to 8. And it just kind of takes a feeling. It also matters how many you put in. If you put in 15 of these, it's going to take a little longer because it's a solid mass of coal. If you're just going to cook 4 to 6 of them, it's only going to take you 6 minutes or 7 minutes. So as much food as you add is how much it's going to increase the time on it. And as you saw, I didn't even have my basket half full. And that thing goes, the max line is that tall. I could have poured all of these in there and had a giant mess of corn dogs, pigs in a blanket, and potato wedges and been shaking that thing up. And it would have taken 15 to 20, 30 minutes or something like that. It would have taken a lot longer than the 6 to 8. But if you're just cooking for 1 or 2 people, this thing is going to be real quick. So we'll come back when it's at about 4 minutes and we'll see how they're looking. All right, we're back, and as you can see, we're at about the 3-minute mark. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out, take a look, and see what we got inside here. As you can see, things are looking pretty good. I'm going to shake those up a little bit to kind of free them up from the grill. I'm using my finger. I don't recommend that, but sometimes they get stuck. And I'm going to put that back in, let them finish up their 3 minutes. One of the things you can use to keep them from sticking to that is a little bit of Pam spray. Detach your basket from the bottom, put it over the sink, spray a little bit of Pam on there, just a little bit, then put it back in, and when you put your food in, it won't stick quite as much to the bottom. Some people also like to spray just oil on their food to help it brown a little more. I don't do that. I like to keep the calories backed off and the fat as much as I can. So I just cook them straight as the way they are, but I will use a little Pam to keep them from sticking to the grill. We'll be back in about 2 minutes and see how they look. Okay, we're back now, and the timer is ticking down. We got about 10 seconds left. We're going to pull it out, see how they look. I'm hoping pretty good. As you'll notice, it beeps, turns itself off. So we're going to go ahead and pull this out. Ooh, look at that. That looks great, doesn't it? You can see that our wieners have a nice browning to them. Our potato wedges are looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and disconnect this, shake it up a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and pour these on our plate here. Be careful because they will go flying if you're not careful. Whoops. Woo! And you can see that there's a little bit of crumbs left over. It's not that bad. It's pretty easy to clean. I'm going to put that back over there. And you can see our food is still hot and crispy. Nice browning marks. We're going to go ahead and give these a taste. We're going to see how they are. We're going to let them cool off for about a minute or two because they're very hot coming out of there. You don't want to just bite into them because you will burn your tongue. So we'll be back in just a minute to see how they are. All right, we've got our nicely cooled off food here. We have little corn dog bites. We have little pigs in a blanket. Those look amazing. And we have some four cheese potato bites. Let's give those a try. Nicely done. A little bit crunchy, but soft in the middle and still moist. Now let's try one of these little pigs in a blanket. As you can see, they're very well done. I'm going to dip it in my little ketchup and mustard mix here. Just the right amount of crunch. Very moist inside, you can see. Still juicy. Amazing. And lastly, let's try just a little corn dog bite. Same mixture. Can you see it? It's still juicy. It's amazing. But it's crunchy on the outside. It is better than any oven. The oven will leave you a little soggy. It won't be quite crunchy. But it's not quite the level of deep fried in oil. If you were to put deep fried in oil here and oven here, it's somewhere right about here. It's not quite deep fried because you don't have the oils seeping through and increasing that flavor, but at the same time you cut way down on the fat, you cut way down on the calories, and it's way better for you. But it tastes significantly better than just cooking in the oven, and it's like twice as fast. These little corn dogs, they take like, 5 minutes or 7 minutes. In the oven, they're like 12 to 15 minutes. I mean, look at that. It is fantastic. You dip that in your little of your sauce here. My recommendation is thumbs up. If you like little frozen foods, or you like to entertain friends, a game night, whatever, and you want to have these kind of things, you can throw a whole bunch in here. The max line is right here. I was filling it up just barely on the first level, but you could fill this thing all the way up, put it in there, set it for 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever the number is, shake it halfway through. Bam, you have nice, crunchy, good food that's not deep fried in oil. You don't have to constantly monitor it like you do an oven or a deep fryer. And the food tastes really good. Even these are all frozen foods and they taste really good. Like I said, if you're expecting deep fried level, it's not quite there. It's just a little bit less. But way better for you, way quicker, and pretty awesome. You can also cook like baked potatoes in here, like chicken and other meats. I haven't done those things yet, but I will do some and get back to you later on those. But for frozen foods, this thing is friggin' amazing. I really like it. Now, I got lucky and found this at a thrift store for 80 bucks. These things new are like 200, 250 bucks. But even then, they're still worth it. They are a convection oven. They cook with a fan and heat, but they crisp it way better than any oven can, and you don't have to clean, lots of big pans and things like that. You just have to cook this, you just have to clean this little thing, and it's not that bad. And the bottom of this is, it's that non-stick stuff. I'm just gonna rinse that out, a little bit of soap and water, and I'm done. And then this, I'm just gonna use a scrub brush on this for like a minute or two, and then I'm done. It's easy cleanup, it's easy cooking, and the food tastes significantly better than the oven. I say 2 thumbs up. These air fryers, the bomb. Get one. All right, guys, I'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in.